In order to be able to successfully play different songs, you have to have a nice, solid understanding of notes and their rhythms. So that's what we're going to be going over today. We're going to learn about 4 different notes in this lesson. The first note that we're going to be learning about is a quarter note, and it is notated by a circle that's solid and colored in with a stem. And this quarter note gets 1 beat or 1 count. Then we have the half note. The half note is a circle that is hollow and a stem, and the half note gets 2 counts. And then we have our dotted half note, which is the half note, which also has a dot on it, and that gets 3 counts or 3 beats. And then finally the whole note, which is notated by a circle, and that gets 4 beats. To help understand why these different notes are called what they're called, I use a little pizza analogy. And so I'll go ahead over here and I'll draw a pizza that's cut into 4 pieces, and each piece represents a beat. And so the whole note gets the whole pizza, and so all 4 beats. And then if we come over here to the half note gets half of the pizza, or just 2 pieces, and so it gets 2 beats. And then the quarter note, it gets a quarter of the pizza, which is 1 piece, and so it gets 1 beat. And then over here with dotted notes, I want to explain what happens whenever you see a note that has a dot on there. So as we know, this is a half note that has a dot, and so it's called the dotted half note. So because there's a half note here, it gets the 2 beats which the half note receives. And so you fill in the 2 beats over here on our pizza. And then what the dot tells us to do is to take half of the note's value and add it on to total the number of beats it gets. And so because we have a half note, half of that value is 1. So you have the 2 beats in the half note, you take half of it, and which is 1, and you add that on, which then totals to 3 beats for this note. So the dotted half note gets 3 beats. Earlier when we were talking about time signatures, we focused on the top note. We mostly talked about 3/4 and 4/4 time signatures, and we learned that the top number, the 3 in this instance, tells us that there are 3 beats in each measure, and the top note over here tells us there are 4 beats in each measure. This bottom number, the 4 in these time signatures, is referring to the quarter note, which you may know that the fraction 1/4 is a quarter, and so this 4 on the bottom here is why this represents a quarter note down here. And so this time signature of 3/4 tells us the quarter note gets 1 count, which then keeps all of this consistent. If the quarter note gets 1 count, then the half note gets 2 counts, and so on. You'll run across some time signatures, for example, like a 2 time signature, and this would then change the values up here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now, because if you look through your hymnal, you'll find that most of the hymns have the 3/4 or the 4/4 time signature, and then whenever we need to learn about others, we'll talk about it then. On page 16 of your manual, they go over the notes that we just learned, the quarter note, the half note, and the dotted half note, as well as the whole note. And in this course, they have us use rhythmic names for these notes to help us better practice and understand the rhythms that they take on in songs. And so as you can see, they have the quarter note here and the rhythmic name of da. So if I were to have 4 quarter notes in a row, I would say da on each beat. I would say da, 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 da. Next, the half note, the rhythmic name is da, ah. The da syllables you'll find in these notes are said when you would actually be striking that key on the piano. And then the ah syllables are how long you would then hold that key on the piano. So the half note would be da, ah. And then the dotted half note, getting 3 beats, da, ah, ah. And then finally the whole note, da, ah, ah, ah. On page 17, there are some exercises for you to practice. of the quarter note, the half note, the dotted half note, and the quarter note rhythms. And if you pull out your CD and turn it to track number 7, you'll be able to hear the examples that they have here, and you'll listen to them say the rhythmic names as well as clap as they do that. What I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to be playing this page on the piano so you can hear and see what this looks like on the keyboard. So I'll pick one note on the keyboard and play each of these lines. Starting with the first line of quarter notes in the 4/4 time signature, it would sound like this. And then the half note line would sound like this. I'll also say the rhythmic names with the half notes. Da, ah, da, ah, da, ah, da, ah. So as you can see, I'm striking the key on the da and I'm holding it still while I say the ah. Striking on da, holding it whenever I say the ah. The dotted half notes sounds like this. Da, ah, ah, da, ah, ah. Da, ah, ah, da, ah, ah. And finally, the whole notes. Da, ah, ah, ah. Da, ah, ah, ah. Da, ah, ah, ah. Da, ah, ah, ah. I'd like you to take this page and practice it while clapping and saying the rhythmic names, and then doing what I just did. Pick one note on the keyboard and play them as notated on this page. On page 18 of your manual, now they're going to be combining the rhythms all into one line. So they have this rhythmic line that they would like you to practice, and you'll notice that there's a new notation at the end of this line, which is called a double bar. The double bar indicates when a song is over. You'll find that in your hymnal, as you can see here, that at the end of the line is just a regular bar line or a measure to show that the measure is over, but the song isn't over until you see the double bar at the end of the line. And so since you can go ahead and listen to track 8 to hear how this rhythm sounds, saying the rhythmic names, and as well as clapping the beat, I'm going to go ahead and play it on the piano again so you can see and hear what this would look like when playing on the keyboard. I'll just go ahead and pick one note and play through this. 1, 2, ready, play. Da, 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 ah, da, ah, da, 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 ah, 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 da, 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 ah, da, ah, da, ah, ah, da, da, ah, ah, ah. When it comes to playing different rhythms, I'm going to also be teaching you an approach that I personally use and many musicians use, that instead of using the rhythmic names as we go through each measure, we count the number of beats that are in each measure. So because this is a time signature of 4/4, I would then count to 4 in each of the measures. I'm going to go ahead and count this line while playing it on the piano so you can hear what that's going to sound like. So starting here, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at the bottom of page 18, they have an assignment, an exercise that I would like you to do. They have 3 different lines with 3 different time signatures, but what is missing is the bar lines to separate the measures. And so because they show you that there are 4 beats per measure, what you're going to do is you're going to count until you get to 4 beats. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, since we have 4 quarter notes and they each get 1 count. And then you would draw a bar line here. And then you would count until you have a total of 4 beats again, and then draw another bar line. So I'd like you to go ahead and do these 3 exercises, and you can also listen to track number 9 on your CD to make sure that you're getting all the rhythmic names correct, which will then make sure you get the number of beats correct. On pages 19 through 21, they have 3 different hymns with rhythm charts. So the notes aren't going to be indicating what pitch is to be sounded, just simply what rhythms are to be played. So as you can see on page 19, there's In Humility Our Savior. And so I'm going to demonstrate how I'd like you to be practicing these different pages with the rhythms. The first time, I would like you to clap and say the rhythmic names, and so it will sound, instead of clapping, I'm going to be pointing and tapping, but I would like you to clap, or if pointing and tapping is an option you like to do, by all means do it. So I'll demonstrate saying the rhythmic names with In Humility Our Savior. Da 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 Next, I'm going to want you to count the number of beats in each measure. So you're going to be counting to 3 in each measure. So that will look like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the last way I'd like you to practice it is to pick one note on the piano and go ahead and play the rhythm as shown here. You can either say the rhythmic name or count while you do it. I personally will count the number of beats as I play it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I hope you also note that there is the double bar here showing that the song is over. And so you have these 4 lines that run without any pauses at these bar lines or at the end of the line until you come to the end of the song indicated by the double bar. Before you move on to the next part of this lesson, I just want to make sure that you feel very comfortable with these different rhythms and how they're played on the piano. The next portion of the lesson, we are going to be playing with finger numbers, which means we're going to be playing different notes on the piano with the rhythms. And so you're going to have to be thinking of a lot of different things at the same time. And so practice these rhythms. The nice thing about playing hymns is, you may be very familiar already with the rhythms that are there. However, if you're, in a situation where either a new song has been written for primary, or maybe you're playing for a different occasion that's not hymns, you're going to have to be very comfortable with these rhythms to be able to read the music and figure out how the song is to sound with the rhythms that they have notated. So take your time, get very comfortable with these concepts before moving on to the next portion of the lesson. When it comes to notation, whenever you see the notes moving up on the page, the higher and higher they get up on the page, the higher and higher you're going to get on the piano, which means you're going to be moving more and more to the right. If the notes start descending or going down, then that means you're going to be moving towards the left of the piano, the lower and lower the notes get on the page. On page 24 of your manual, there are 4 exercises that they want you to do with steady quarter note beats to get you ready for page 25, where they're going to be incorporating different rhythms with the different note values that we have been studying. So I'm going to play through the 4 different lines that are found on page 24, starting with the first line, which is a 3/4 time signature. It will be played like this: 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Then the next line, which is a 2/4 time signature, will sound like this: 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3. And then for the next exercises, they want you to switch to your left hand. I'm going to be playing the third line on page 24, which starts with a 3/4 time signature. It sounds like this: 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2. And then finally, the last exercise on page 24 for the left hand with a 4/4 time signature: 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. On page 25, they have some examples for you to do where your right hand is going to be playing by finger numbers to different rhythms on the first 2 lines, and then on the second two lines, the left hand will be playing by finger numbers with the rhythms. I'm going to demonstrate each of these lines. Before playing each line on the piano by finger number, I would recommend going through and saying either the rhythmic name or counting 3 beats per each measure on this first line, or 4 beats per measure on this line, just to make sure you have a good understanding of what the rhythms are before you try playing it on the piano. So for example, the rhythmic names of this would sound like this: da, 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 Now I'm going to go ahead and play the first example on page 25 on the piano. If you'd like to play along with me using the same notes, my first finger is placed on the first white key that's just to the left of the 2 black notes, or the 2 black keys. So go ahead and get your hand in position, and I'll be counting the beats. So I'll be counting to 3 in each measure on the first example on page 25. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you're more comfortable saying the rhythmic names, it would sound like this: da, 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 da. I'm now going to play the second line on page 25 that starts out with a 4/4 time signature. My hand is in the same position, and this exercise has a start on the 3rd finger. So I'll go ahead, I'll do the rhythmic names the first time, and then I'll count the beats the second time. 1, 2, ready, play. Da, 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 Now go ahead and count the beats in each measure. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're still on page 25 on the 3rd line, or the 3rd exercise, and this one's to be played with your left hand. I have my first finger placed on middle C, which is the white key that is just to the left of 2 black keys. So let's go ahead and start with our 3rd finger on our left hand. I'll do the rhythmic names the first time, and then we'll count the beats in each measure the second time. 1, 2, ready, go. Da, 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 da. count the beats. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And finally, we'll do the last line on page 25, starting with a 4/4 time signature. I'll do the rhythmic names first, starting with our first finger. 1, 2, ready, play. Da, ah, ah, da, da, ah, ah, da, da, ah, ah, da, da, ah, da, ah. And finally, counting the beats. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd like you to play through the exercises that are found on pages 24 through 27 that incorporate playing by finger numbers and playing the rhythms. What I want you to do before you play it on the piano is make sure you have a very good understanding of what the rhythm is going to be like. And so you can either do that by saying the rhythmic names, or you could do it by counting the beats in the measure as I have just demonstrated. Go through these pages a couple times each. The first time, again, don't play with your keyboard until you're set on the rhythm. And then when you're playing on the keyboard, go ahead and play it with the rhythmic names or counting by measures. And another thing that you might find helpful is if you say the finger numbers out loud. The thing that can get a little tricky there is if you're saying the finger numbers out loud, sometimes the rhythm then kind of goes to the wayside. So that's why you want to make sure you understand the rhythm very well before you go on to this next section. Also, on pages 26 and 27, they have a specific spot on the piano that they want your hands to be placed. And so for page 26, the left hand will be playing all of these exercises, and they want your fifth finger on your left hand to be on the white key that is just to the left of the two black keys. So make sure that your hand is in this correct position, because then if you play with track number 13, your notes will match up with what you hear on the track number 13 of the CD. So again, on page 26 and 27, put your hand in the correct spot, and then you'll be able to play and check your rhythms as you play along with this CD on track 13. All right, on page 28, we're going to start playing hymns with finger numbers and the rhythms that are indicated. First, go through each line, make sure you understand what the rhythms are that they would like. And so you can either do your da, the rhythmic names with the da and ah syllables, or you can go ahead and count the number of beats per measure, whichever you choose. Once you've once you've exercised the rhythms, then you're going to want to get your hands in the correct position on the piano. If they're not in the correct position, then the hymn will not sound correct. And so the right hand will be playing first. So you look for the three black keys that are grouped together, and then your thumb will go in between the first two black keys on your right hand. So go ahead and get your hand in place, and we'll demonstrate how this hymn will be played. So my right hand is in place. My first finger is on the white key that's in between the two black keys that are grouped into threes, so in between the first two black keys of the group of three. And I'm going to be saying the finger numbers as I play. 1, 2, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now, one of the things that I want you to be focusing on when you play is to play so the notes are connected, so it's nice and smooth, and the term in music is called legato, when you're playing something smoothly. So I'll give a demonstration of when notes are not connected. So here's In Humility Our Savior, not legato. So again, you want to connect your notes so they're nice and smooth. Hold the value of the notes as long as they're supposed to be held, but don't let yourself start to overlap. So again, here it is nice and legato. Now get your left hand in place for In Humility Our Savior. Our fifth finger will be placed in the first white key that's in between the two black keys of the set of three. So you find the set of three black keys, the first two black keys, the white key that's in the middle. Go ahead and put your fifth finger there. And then we'll go ahead and I will again say the finger numbers as I play it. 1, 2, go. 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. On page 29 with the hymn, Jesus the Very Thought of Thee, they're going to have you place your right and left hand on the keyboard, and both hands need to be ready to play because the melody will travel between the right hand and the left hand as you go throughout the line. So I want you to take note of how they have this indicated. This whole section here is the first line of music. They indicate that by drawing one solid line here to show that your right and your left hand are going to be working together. You'll see in the hymnal that that's how it's always indicated, that you have this solid line going here from the right hand, and then this is where the left hand plays. These notes are played at the same exact time. We're not going to be working on that just yet, but what we are going to be understanding is when the right hand is going to be playing and when the left hand is going to be playing, and how it flows on a continuous line throughout the piece. So what I'm going to do now is demonstrate how I would like you to practice these hymns. The first thing you're going to do, as it indicates, is to clap a steady beat and say the rhythmic names of the notes. So I'll go ahead and do that so you can follow along and see how you read these notes. Starting here with rhythmic names. 1, 2, go. Da, da, da. Da, 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 Next, you want to get your hands in position as indicated on the chart on page 29. So your left hand, your first finger is going to go on the first white key that is just to the left of two black keys, and then your right hand thumb will be on the note that is just right next to your left hand thumb. And so this is what your hand should look like in position. And then I'll go ahead and I'll say the finger numbers as I play. 1, 2, go. 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 4, 4, 4, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1. Once you feel comfortable saying the rhythmic names for your hymns as well as playing by finger numbers, some other ways that you can consider practicing them is to sing the words as well as counting the beats. Figure out what is easiest for you, what presents some challenges, write them down so we can discuss them whenever we have our one-on-one Skype sessions, and keep moving on with the other hymns on pages 30 and 31. On page 30, we will not have any new concepts that need to be learned in order to play Jesus Once of Humble Birth. And so I'm just going to point out a few things to keep in mind as you work on this hymn. The first line of music consists of both of these sections, this top section and this bottom section. The top part being is showing you what the right hand will play, and the bottom part is showing you what the left hand will play. And I will go ahead and say the rhythmic names and point how you'll navigate through this hymn. So I'll go ahead and do the rhythmic names starting now. 1, 2, go. Da, 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 da. On page 31, the hymn Abide With Me introduces a new concept for us. We are going to be learning about sharps. This is the symbol that is used for whenever a note is to be played sharp, and I'll use the keyboard to explain what that means. On the keyboard, the distance between each note is called a half step. And so if I were to go from this white key to this black key, that would be a half step. Half step, half step, half step, half step, half step. And then also from this white key to this white key, that is also a half step because there is no black key separating it. So again, one key to the very next key is always going to be a half step. There will be times in music when things like sharps or flats will be indicated for you to play a note either a half step higher if it's a sharp or a half step lower if it's a flat. So again, in Abide With Me, we have a note that has been sharped, and so they want us to play a half step higher. Your first finger in Abide With Me will be positioned here on this white key that is just to the left of this group of 3. At one point in the song, they will have your first finger on your right hand with a sharp on that note. Because your thumb is positioned here, that sharp then will take place on the black key just above it. Now you'll notice whenever I play Abide With Me that my hand shifts just slightly and it slides up onto the keys a little bit higher, so your thumb can easily reach and comfortably reach that black key. So I'll go ahead and I'll play through Abide With Me utilizing this black key for the sharp. Before we play with the finger numbers, I do want to go ahead and do the rhythmic names for everything to make sure you feel comfortable of how you're going to be navigating from the right and the left hands in this piece. Because the notes start out here on this bottom part of the first line, that means that the left hand is going to be played. Right now, it also indicates when the left hand is going to be played whenever the stems point down. So your left hand's going to start here, and I'll do the rhythmic names pointing how you'll go about going from the left to the right hand. 1, 2, ready, go. Da, 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 da.
Okay, my hands are now in the correct position for Abide With Me, keeping in mind that whenever you see the 1 for your right hand, you are going to be playing this white key until you see the 1 note that has the sharp symbol in front of it, and then that first finger is going to be going up to play on the black key, which is just a half step higher than its original position. So I'll go ahead and I'll play through Abide With Me, saying the finger numbers. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3.
We've learned a lot in this second lesson with the different rhythms and notes, how to incorporate those while playing with finger numbers, and then putting your hands in a certain position on the piano to play hymns. It's a fun lesson to do because you feel a lot is achieved with all that you're able to play. Please take the time to practice each hymn and each exercise at least 3 times a day, and then changing up how you play it each time, whether it be using the rhythmic names, saying the finger numbers, singing the words, or counting the beats. Just get comfortable with everything, because then as you're introduced to more concepts or different songs, some things will then come more naturally to you. Looking forward to our next lesson, and have fun practicing.